To that end, today, the Federal Open Market Committee decided to take another step in reducing the degree of policy restraint by lowering our policy interest rate by a 1/4 percentage point.
And let me tell you, the market did not like that because they were expecting more and aggressive cuts to the federal funds reserve rate. Unfortunately, what is happening now is they're predicting and forecasting only 2 more cuts in 2025 instead of the proposed and the idealized 4 cuts. As such, the stock market is just selling off like there's no tomorrow. The fundamentals of most businesses have not changed, but this was still disappointing news. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Dividend Compounder Show. In this video, I'm going to be articulating my thoughts on why I'll be buying into Nvidia and AMD despite their sell-off. Unfortunately, the sentiment on Wall Street is that Nvidia is old news, and they will soon be player number 2 behind Broadcom in the AI chip space, which makes no sense and is absolutely crazy because up until that Broadcom earnings report, people couldn't get enough of Nvidia. But now the hype and frenzy is all around Broadcom's custom AI chips that they're gonna make for the hyperscalers. Funny enough, people were literally eating Wendy's every single day so that they could buy more shares of Nvidia. And AMD? Well, AMD is in a point in their relationship with Wall Street where they're saying, prove it. Show us. Stop talking about the total addressable market and show us some results. Show us that you're gaining ground on market share in the AI space. Because with AMD and their messaging, when they keep talking about the TAM, the total addressable market, the market's going to get more bullish towards Nvidia because you aren't showing us that your chips have the capacity to take away market share from Nvidia. All that to say, when it comes to growth stocks, everything is future focused and expectations get baked in. I mean, for crying out loud, when we look at Broadcom's stock, in the beginning of December, they were trading for about $166 a share, and then after their earnings report, they just skyrocketed 44%. And so at this point in time, as I am making this video, the widely accepted belief is that Nvidia's throne to AI is finally over, and AMD is basically your wife's boyfriend. He's just sitting there in the corner staring at us awkwardly as he's currently down by negative 10% year to date. However, the bigger question is, do you believe that narrative? That Nvidia and AMD is falling behind in the AI race and that Broadcom is here to just kick their balls in? Is it game over for Nvidia and for AMD? And to help you answer that question, regardless, if you focus on what's happening right now, Nvidia is growing their revenue at a ridiculous rate because their chips, believe it or not, are the most in demand for AI data centers. Not only that, but their margins are also almost unfair because they're able to charge the highest of prices since their AI chips are currently best in class. But the reality is, not every single server and data center needs to have the most fully loaded Nvidia AI chip. Consequently, some companies are pursuing alternatives to Nvidia so that they can save some money and avoid allowing Nvidia to become the monopoly that they currently are. Whoops, I guess I forgot that Broadcom is now the monopoly leader and that Nvidia is a nobody. And that's why Wall Street is selling out of Nvidia and pivoting into Broadcom. But anyways, because Nvidia is operating as a monopoly in the AI chip space for data centers, some companies are going out of their way to partner with AMD and Broadcom just so that they don't have to work with Nvidia. But if you're Nvidia, it really doesn't matter because your revenue is growing at a double to triple digit rate every single year. And the cool thing about Nvidia is that they are continuously pushing the boundary of innovation and pumping out new products that the market might need. Case in point, on December 17th, Nvidia introduced a small Jetson computer at $250, which is 50% less than their prior version. And this tiny Jetson computer is for AI applications, and you can basically think of the Jetson computers as the budget-friendly AI computer, for the people that want to get into this space, but the price point is a barrier. And at a $250 price tag, the customer base for all things related to AI just got a little bit bigger, and Nvidia is going to be the winner of that space. And I point out this Wall Street Journal article because Nvidia is innovating and is sprinting hard in this AI race. I don't know why everyone on Wall Street magically is forgetting the fact that Nvidia is an amazing company. So when you think about it, the fundamentals for Nvidia have not changed. They're still producing the world's most most advanced GPU AI chips that are on the market. So if you don't get it by now, I disagree with the bearish sentiment that is surrounding Nvidia and towards AMD. And according to the people in the AI field, they're saying that right now, the early adopters are the hyperscalers, the ones that have a massive need for data centers, such as Google, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and OpenAI. However, in the future, almost every single field is going to need and depend on AI chips. So there should be more than enough room for AMD, Nvidia, Broadcom, and others to thrive. There's enough food at the cookout for everyone to eat that's doing the AI chips business. Case in point, Masayoshi Son just pledged $100 billion to the development of AI technology in the US. He's partnering with Donald Trump. In my opinion, what this is going to do is expedite the need for AI technology in all sectors in the US, which, as we just talked about, will benefit Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, Marvell, Qualcomm, and other chip makers. And the last thing that I want to point out in this article is this. Regulatory moves by the Trump administration could lead to massive upside in valuation for the technology sector, because the industry is highly dependent on federal policies in areas including global trade, mergers and acquisitions, foreign investment, and cryptocurrency. So the market is super bullish towards tech because of the upcoming administration that is coming into office. However, if you were to ask me, I would say that the real winner here is TSM, because TSM is the one that is manufacturing all of these chips for all of these giants. And if you don't know who TSM is, they're basically a chips manufacturer that is based in Taiwan that makes almost every single advanced chip around the world. Let me show you their finances so you can see what I'm talking about. What I'm looking at is this line item, the revenue. This is what investors refer to as the top line. And obviously it's in Taiwan dollars, but still, my point stands. They are the true winners because they are the ones that have a monopoly in producing these chips for the companies. Then again, when it comes to TSM, they have China that borders them to the north. And if you know anything about China, they want to absorb Taiwan because of Taiwan's GDP contribution is going to be meaningful for China and their economy, which is pretty wild to me because if a company does not want to be a part of your country, why not just leave them alone? If Taiwan wanted to merge with China, they would have already accepted that situation a long time ago. But if they have not done it yet, what makes you think they want to be a part of China? So the fact is, Taiwan is happy as they are. However, Wall Street cannot turn a blind eye to the one China situation and the geopolitical tensions that are always happening with China and Taiwan. I mean, for instance, just read this article's headliner. TSM is not allowed to send any more advanced AI chips to China because the US said so. And between you and me, do you think that's going to rub China's butthole the wrong way, or do you think they're happy about that situation? Of course they're pissed off. And although TSM operates as a monopoly in chips manufacturing, the good news is that TSM is thinking forward and future-oriented because they're currently opening up factories outside of Taiwan in order to avoid any geopolitically based supply chain issues that could happen in the future. So as long as Nvidia and AMD are able to get their chips manufactured on time by TSM, they should be seeing new highs. And for you guys that are invested into Intel, what if in the future Intel does in fact make the chips for the biggest US players? It doesn't matter where they get their chips, as long as those chips are made on time and are delivered to the customers, their revenue, their free cash flow, their bullish sentiment is going to continue. Worst case scenario, if in fact TSM does fall, the next available chips maker would potentially be Samsung. However, I don't think that Samsung has the scale that TSM does in pumping out AI chips by thousands per cycle, so that would be a devastating blow on the bottom line, but I'm not the type of guy that likes to think catastrophically and cynically. And in about a month, we're going to hear good or bad news from AMD in their next earnings report. Broadcom made every nipple on Wall Street super hard with their earnings report, so we'll see what AMD's response is going to be. If in fact AMD reports good news, tell me why AMD cannot skyrocket like Broadcom did, especially since we are operating in a market driven by AI hype, and because AMD, the expectations are already low, so if they shoot any signs of a good news, I think this company has the potential to reverse this decline in the sell-off that they are currently going through. All that to say, at the right price, I'm going to continue buying shares of AMD and buy into Nvidia. If you want to know my price targets, then watch my videos that break down their finances, fundamentals, and numbers so you can see my logic and my price target. But with that said, if you like this type of content, someone going over the numbers, talking about the story and the intangibles, but also has a sense of humor, then go ahead and subscribe. If you don't like me, it's okay. I still love you. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.